All right, let's talk about Enterprise Resource Planning Projects, or ERPs. You know the ones. They're massive, they're expensive, and they're supposed to run your whole business. The stakes couldn't be higher, which honestly makes the thought of actually implementing one pretty terrifying. So, how do you actually get it right? Well, let's dive in and break it down. 67%. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That means 2 out of every 3 of these huge company-defining projects either go completely off the rails or just demolish their budget. That's a number that should absolutely keep you up at night if you're involved in one. But here's the good news. There is a way to make sure you land in that successful 1/3. And this is how. Take a look at this quote. This comes from a team who pulled off a $250,000 project for a manufacturer in Kenya. And get this, they didn't just deliver it on time. They were 2 weeks early and came in under budget. Now that wasn't luck, not at all. They used a very specific, repeatable framework. And that is the exact framework we're going to walk through step by step right now. So that's the big question, right? How do you go from the total chaos that these giant projects can become to a place of complete control? Well, the answer isn't some kind of magic trick. It's actually pretty simple. It's a clear, structured roadmap. One that everyone, and I mean everyone, on the team follows every single step of the way. And here it is. This is the roadmap. We're talking about a 12-week journey all broken down into 5 clear phases. Discovery, then design, then we move into configuration, then testing, and finally, the big one, go live. This structure is what gives you the clarity to navigate the whole thing. So let's jump in right at the beginning.
Okay, first up, the foundation. Phases 1 and 2, discovery and design. These are absolutely everything. Think of it like building a house. This is you drawing up the architectural blueprints. If you get this part right, the rest of the project is built on solid ground. You mess this up, well, the whole thing could come crumbling down.
So, phase 1, discovery. It all boils down to one single question. What are we actually building? And notice, we're not talking about technology yet, not at all. This is all about getting everyone aligned. It's about understanding the people, the way things work right now, and figuring out the absolute must-have requirements long before anyone even thinks about writing a single line of code.
And what's so powerful about this is how proactive it is. Let's take step 1, stakeholder mapping. This is so crucial. On that Kenyan project I mentioned, they discovered something fascinating. The CFO was measured on saving money, right? But the operations manager was measured on maximizing output. See the problem? Their main goals, their KPIs, were in direct conflict with each other. By finding and solving that disagreement in week 1, they saved themselves what they figure was about 3 weeks of painful rework down the line. The lesson here is so simple. Find the friction early. Okay, so once you've locked in the what, phase 2 is all about the how. This is where that blueprint we talked about gets technical. We're talking about designing the actual system architecture, mapping out how data will flow, and setting up the security that's going to bring that vision from phase 1 into reality.
And here are some of those key technical calls you have to make. For instance, what's the right tool for the job? Are you a smaller business that fits something like Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central? Or are you a huge, complex operation that needs the full finance and operations suite? How's this new system going to talk to all your old software? But listen, the most critical piece on this slide, by far, is data migration. There's a golden rule here, and it is absolutely non-negotiable. You never, ever migrate bad data. Because if you put garbage in, you're just going to get a shiny, brand new, very expensive garbage system out. You have to clean your data first. Period.
All right, our blueprint is done. Now it's time to put on the hard hats and get to work. We're moving into the active construction phase, the build. This is broken into 2 key parts. First, configuration, where we actually build the thing, and second, testing, which is where you try your absolute best to break it.
Phase 3, configuration. This is where the magic really starts to happen. The team builds the system in short bursts, called agile sprints, usually about 2 weeks long. And at the end of every sprint, there's a demo. This is huge, because it means no big, nasty surprises at the end. The core idea here is to use as much of the standard, out-of-the-box system as you can before you even whisper the word customization.
And this brings us to the configuration first principle, or what I like to call the 80-20 rule. This rule is what will save your budget, I promise you. The goal is to solve 80% of your problems with the standard features the system already has. That last 20%, Okay, that's for customizations. But, and this is a big but, every single one has to be fiercely justified. It needs a clear return on investment. This is the discipline that stops scope creep, that silent killer of ERP projects, dead in its tracks.
Okay, so in phase 4, we pivot. We go from building to validating. This phase has two equally important jobs. Job number 1 is technical. Make sure the system actually works through a ton of rigorous testing. Job number 2 is all about the people, making sure the humans who are going to use this thing every day are trained, confident, and actually ready for the change.
And this is why you never, ever skip testing. Just imagine this for a second. You go live, it's the end of the month, everyone's stressed, and a critical report takes 45 seconds to run. Every single time. It would be an absolute disaster. Well, that almost happened, but performance testing caught it. The team was able to get that report time down from 45 seconds to just 3. That right there is the real-world, crisis-averting power of a proper testing phase.
So, the system's built, it's been tested, the users are trained up and ready to go. You know what that means? It is time for the main event, the launch. This is the moment. Everything we've done, all the planning, all the building, it's all been leading up to this.
Now, phase 5 is really a 2-act play. Act 1 is the go-live itself. This is that carefully planned, high-stakes moment where you flick the switch, turn off the old system and turn on the new one. But then comes Act 2, hypercare. This is a critical 30-day period of all-hands-on-deck, intensive support. It's designed to handle all those inevitable questions and little hiccups that pop up as the business gets used to the new reality.
And this little chart shows you exactly why hypercare is so vital. Look at week 1, 47 support tickets. That might seem high, but honestly, that's pretty normal. The business is learning. But now look at the trend. With that focused support team in place, the issues get knocked down fast. By week 4, you're down to just 8 tickets. That's a stable, manageable system. This is what a successful, smooth launch looks like in data.
Okay, so we've just walked through the entire 5-phase playbook from start to finish. Now let's boil it all down. Let's talk about the key lessons that separate that scary 67% who fail from the 33% who knock it out of the park.
First off, let's remember why we go through all this trouble. What's the payoff? Well, it's enormous. According to research from Forrester, when you get this right, you can see a 265% return on your investment in just 3 years. And that's not just some made-up number. It comes from real, tangible things like your sales team becoming more efficient, your staff getting more done, and getting to ditch old, expensive infrastructure and consulting fees.
And on the flip side, here are the giant, flashing red flags that tell you your project is heading for trouble. If your executive sponsors start skipping the weekly meetings, that's a huge problem. If your users keep saying, just make it work like the old system, you've completely lost the plot. And my personal favorite, if your vendor ever says, oh, we'll figure that out later, your response has to be, no, we are going to figure that out right now.
So, to put a bow on all of this, here are the final strategic keys to success. 1. Enforce your scope boundaries like a fortress. 2. Invest time and money in cleaning your data early. 3. Prioritize user adoption, because it's the people who make or break this, not the tech. 4. Always budget for 10-15% contingency. Things happen. And 5, create a network of super users inside the company who can be your champions for the long haul.
When you think about it, your ERP isn't just another piece of software. It's the new central nervous system for your entire company. It connects everything from finance to sales to the people on the factory floor. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: are you giving that nervous system the successful, healthy start that it truly deserves?